NewsNation's investigative reporter Rich McHugh has been following this particular story and has interviewed one of Leah Thomas's teammates at UPenn. First of all, Rich, good morning.
Good morning.
This decision from FINA, it applies to swimming events at the international level. So that's World Championships, the Olympic Games. Is this decision surprising at all?
I wouldn't say it's surprising. I spoke to with one of the members of the Olympic Committee, and he John Neighbors, he thought that this might come down this way, that they were doing a lot of research. They met with multiple different groups of people. They met with elite athletes, doctors, medical science people in the science community, and human rights, the Human Rights Committee as well. And he said, at the end of the day, I think this is where it's gonna come out. But most people didn't know that, but like select people inside governing bodies, like at elite swimming, seem to think this is the way it was going to go down.
You talked to Leah Thomas's teammates. We actually have one of those teammates, and we're going to listen to that interview right now.
I agree that Leah identifies as a woman, but I think that there is differences between the physiological makeup of a transgender woman versus a cisgendered woman, and to allow Leah 100% the ability to be on the women's team and with no rules or anything like that, which is not fair.
And that teammate, we obviously disguised her voice and hid her identity, but possibly because there are a lot of people who are vocal saying that this is discriminatory. We're still awaiting a response from Leah Thomas herself. She recently told Sports Illustrated, "I'm not a man, I'm a woman, so I belong on the women's team." But has there been any response to FINA's decision claiming, prejudice or discrimination?
I haven't seen that, to be honest. I haven't seen that so far. I'm sure people will feel that way. But on the other side, I reached out to the swimmer that I interviewed back in March, I believe, and I got a statement from her. If I can read this, she says, "This is the Penn swimmer that was the teammate of Leah Thomas." Said, "I'm so happy that people are sticking up for women, being brave and doing the right thing. Next, FINA needs to be retroactive and declare that any records a trans woman has broken do not count. We cannot allow there to be an eternal legacy set with these records that no women will be able to break. Plus, the women whose records were broken were disrespected, and their legacy needs to be restored." So once again, she is very strong on where she stands on this.
And you've spoken to other very well-known athletes, Martina Navratilova, saying that this was the right decision. Caitlyn Jenner, who of course is famous for competition in the Olympics, saying prior to her transition that this worked. I took a lot of heat, but what's fair is fair. If you go through male puberty, you should not be able to take medals away from females, period. And FINA's decision says that you have to be 12 years or younger if you are going to compete as a transgender woman. So, clearly there are very, very few places where you can get the actual transgender surgery or hormonal treatments at that young of an age.
Yeah, they're pretty clear that once male puberty begins, you can no longer compete as a transgender athlete in the elite women's swimming.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.